Welcome to Memphis, full of individuals that you can vibe to. Just don't be a snitch, that's all we ask you. Hello, as you can see, I'm still working on my hair. I'm still on in the flat ironing process. So while I do that, I want to talk about my college years. Where I left off on my first day of college. I had a panic attack and I couldn't move. So after that, a few days, well, my roommate came the next day. My first roommate was a really cool person. We were different from each other. She was a club person. She was a very outgoing person. And me, you know, I was pretty introverted. But we were different, but we had a mutual respect towards each other. Whenever she often brought guys to the room, but whenever she did, she didn't do anything in front of me. And on the flip side, I didn't stay in the room. Like, I always left. I always found things to do so that she could have some privacy with her friends. So we had a mutual respect towards each other. So I started going to classes, and in my art class, I met this girl named Charity. She was also an introvert. Um, she she liked to draw these animals called griffins. I don't know if you're familiar with griffins, but they're half bird, half dinosaur, I think. But yeah, she liked to draw those a lot. And she liked to work on her computer and do like graphic art things on her computer. She was a really cool person. We became pretty close friends. So I had my roommate, but her roommate was crazy. Her roommate wanted to fight her. Who would want to fight her? All she did was sit around and draw all day. Like, why would you want to fight her? So she had to. Actually, she ended up with her own room. The first half of the semester, she had that crazy roommate, but the next half, she had her own room. My first semester, I was proud of myself for getting through it, but I did wish that I had more friends. So then here comes the second semester. New roommate. It started off cool. My roommate was a very religious church going person, and I did that. I said, okay, she's gonna be cool, she's gonna be quiet. Well, no. She wasn't as respectful as my first roommate. In fact, she had a boyfriend. And one day, she brought the boyfriend to the room, and her boyfriend started messing around. And I said something. I said, are y'all doing something? She lied to me and said, no, no, he's just being silly. He won't lay down. Then they proceeded to do it in front of me. That made me so angry that I went downstairs and I went outside. And I still lived in that same co-ed dorm. Um Charity was still there at this point, but she had a new roommate, and her name was Amanda. Amanda was pretty cool. Okay, so back to the other story. So I go outside and I see like 10 to 15 people. They're just sitting outside, like in front of the dorms on the porch, and they're camping out actually. And so I just sit down and I just start talking because I'm so angry. My roommate is upstairs and she's having sex and she just lied to me. I'm so pissed off. They're like, oh, wow. Who are you? What's your name? Where'd you come from? And so they introduce themselves. You know, hey, my name's Jonathan. Hey, my name is Chris. Hey, my name's Melissa. Hey, my name's Elise. And, and I introduce myself. So the next day, I saw them again, but instead of hanging out on the porch, they were hanging out on the benches in front of the dorm. And so I hung out with them again because they were really cool people. They had a hippie vibe, and I dig that. So we started hanging out from then there. All of a sudden, I'm in a friend group. We called ourselves the bench crew. My roommate got mad at me and she accused me of being in a gang. You can look at us and tell that we're clearly not a gang. Like we're a bunch of hippies. There are a bunch of stoners. We like to listen to rock music and like hippie music, like older 70s music. Like clearly not a gang. Um, when when we hung out together, there were about 10 to 15 of us, but there were a friend of friends of the group. Charity stopped going. She dropped out, but I hung out with her roommate Amanda, and Amanda wasn't in the group, but she was a friend of a friend. That's an example. So when we all hung out, like all of us together, even a friend of friends, we rode together like 30 deep. I had a lot of fun with them. Um, those are the people that I started smoking with. A couple I made out with, had friends with benefit situations with. Like we were a really fun group. Eventually, I got a job and then I got my own apartment. Actually, before that, okay, remember how I said my roommate wanted to fight me because she thought I was in a gang? Well, I was in the same situation as Charity where I had to report her. And then I ended up with my own room. So after I had my own room, I thought I don't really want a roommate anymore. So I got a job and I got my own apartment. I got a two-bedroom apartment for $420 a month. And I eventually stopped going to school because I was an art major and I didn't know what I wanted to do with being an art major. The only thing I could think of with an art major was being a teacher. And as you can see, I'm a pretty good artist. Like I'm really good at drawing. But I didn't know what I wanted to do with that art major. I just felt like I was wasting my parents' money. So that's why I stopped going to school. So that's the story of my college years. They ended up really fun. I had a big group of friends, and we had a lot of fun adventures with each other. A lot of house parties, a lot of get togethers. So that's the story of my college. My next story is going to be a pretty wild one. Stay tuned for that one. And I hope y'all have a good one.